back to Shakhtar to Glory, episode 13. As usual, before we start, I'd just like to say if you're enjoying my content, please drop a like, drop a sub. Any comments as well will be gratefully received and replied to. So, before we get into this, we're finally here. We're at the first leg against Paris St Germain, so we're at the 21st of February now. So we've jumped from, I think it was December sometime, wasn't it? 18th December, looking at the fixtures at the top right there, the 6-0 win. Oh no, these are the... It's 18th of February, isn't it? That's actually the friendlies that because obviously we had the winter break, we skipped off for that, and we've come back. We've had a few friendlies. As you can see, we got a 6-0 and an 8-0. We did have Zenit as well. We'll go through the little. We'll have a quick look at those in a minute. We lost to Zenit. There's a few other games. I did actually just leave those to the assistant, playing the same way that we always play, but I was really more focused during the window. Obviously, we come into the transfer window, just trying to get some players in, get some players out. Just try and strengthen up a little bit and see what we can do in the transfer market. Obviously, with a transfer budget of 0, that was starting point. That was very difficult. But there has been some changes in the team. As you can see down at the bottom right here, transfer budget is currently sitting at 30. We've increased the transfer revenue. I managed to get that up. That was after the first big signing player sold, which is a bit disappointing. So we didn't get quite as much of the money as we could have done. But I don't think it was there as an option before. So, swings and roundabouts really. But we got it now. And we've sold a few other players. We'll go through those. It's kind of a little bit of a transfer special just before we go into the Paris St Germain games. These are back to back. I think we'll look at when we look at the schedule and the fixtures. We will go into that. So we'll go into the schedule now. So last time out, obviously we had the Sevilla game, which was this one here. So we lost 3-2. We followed that up with a 6-0 win in the league. Against Stahl, who were 4th place I think at the time. Quite a comprehensive victory. Obviously they did get a player sent off, but the damage was done well before that. Romero getting a goal, Cerner getting a penalty. Tyson, that's the game he went off, wasn't it? No. See, I'm now wondering, yeah. I thought he got injured before that, but yeah. But he scored in this game. He must have been back perhaps for this game. I thought he got injured in the Sevilla game. Then we had Bernard came off the bench. I think, yeah, he got a goal off the bench and an assist, actually. And we also had Ferreira got 2 goals, one very late on. But we dominated the game, 2 shots to them. They actually beat us in fouls for once. We don't often get beaten in fouls. But quite a good shot return on target. But comprehensive win, and that does sort of coming back as we come back into the season, which is only 3 days away, so we have maybe got a game between. The schedule's changed a little bit, perhaps. We've got Ilichevets in 3 days, which is a bit annoying. But we can... Where are they? They're about mid-table, but they are an affiliate of ours, so again, we've got a bit of a conflict of interest there, but we can play a bit of a weak team. So as you can see, we have got a 9-point lead on Kiev. They've slipped up a few times. We haven't actually got the top goal scorer in the league. I thought we were killing that. I thought Tyson Romero were doing some real damage in that. But Kravets for Kiev has got 22 goals in the league. So really pulling away. The assists, we haven't got anyone in the top 3 either. But I mean, our goals and our assists do come from everywhere, don't they? So, yeah, well, so it's kind of not to be expected that we're not in the top of the tables and that. We've got the average ratings, that's obviously to be expected, but Kravets, again, with the amount of goals he's got, he's always going to be expected to be winning that. So let's go on to the next bit of news. So at this point, it's not actually game footage we're showing at the moment. It's snapshots I've taken because it was things that happened through the winter break. So as you can see, we were offered a new contract, a good 3-year deal. We negotiated, I think, a philosophy or 2 perhaps. I tried to get some more transfer budget. They gave me a little bit, I think, and I managed to, obviously, like I said previously, we managed to increase that with some sales and increase the percentage of revenue we get from transfers. So we've done that. We've got a new contract. We're here for another 3 years at least. Hopefully, if in 3 years, if we still haven't attained the aim of this save, which is to, win the Champions League, then we'll still be here and have a good. And get another contract and I'll still be able to have a good crack at it. But 3 years, I'd expect to be able to maybe getting close to it at that point. Once I'm starting to forge the team into the image I want, the players I want, the style I want, which it has started with this January transfer window. It has now closed, so there's no more deals to come. So we've got, like I said, the 30 million there. That will be for next season, and we can sort of try and build in the summer. I didn't want to do too much because I didn't want to. The Champions League registration for this year, you can only do, I think it was 3 replacements and 2 changes or something, 2 new players, something like that. So we've weakened the team a little bit for this year, so we're going to have a bit of a struggle. But yeah, that's the news on the contract. The next screenshots that I'm showing here from the winter break are some awards that have been given out, and Romero has actually been given the Golden Boy. So great news for him there. He's got 20 goals in the league. I think that's in the league. I'm just looking at the stat there, just here. 20 goals. I think that is in the league. That might be overall. Yeah, I think it is because he's only got 15 in the league, hasn't he? So 20 goals overall. So that's Romero. And also, Tyson and Romero get awards for the best foreign player in the division. The Golden Boy with Romero was obviously the European Golden Boy. That's the overall best young player in Europe. These awards here that I'm showing now on the screen, they are very much just for Ukraine. There was a couple of other awards given out. I think they were more focused towards like the best teams and best 11 of the year. It seemed to be like an annual award rather than a seasonal award. So it finishes in January. It runs January to December, it seems. I haven't taken a snapshot of those. It didn't seem really worth it. I think Kiota was goalkeeper of the year as well. He was in the team. We had a lot of the positions in that team. It was pretty much just Shakhtar with, I think, Kravets from Kiev up front with Romero, I think it was, and Tyson was out on the right. But that's for that. So what we'll do now, we'll have a look at the transfers. I don't know whether to do these all one by one or just sort of pop them up on the screen. So I decided just to pop them on the screen. I thought that was the easiest. So we'll start with the ins because obviously that they come from after selling players, but we'll start with the ins. Obviously, Romero. Actually, no, we'll go with the outs because some of the ins relate to the outs. So the top one there, Stepanenko, £24.5 million rising to 33. He wanted to, once that bid came in, he wanted to talk. He wanted to leave. Wanted to look at leaving to go to Man City. Can't blame him. It's the Premier League. It's a massive move for him. But at that point, my job was just to negotiate the biggest deal I could possibly do, and I think I've done pretty well. He was worth about 14, I think, if memory serves me well. I managed to get 24 up front with about another, what's that, about another 8.5, 9.5 on add-ons. I think there's a future sell-on fee, there's a few instalments, that sort of thing. So we'll get a bit of regular money coming through for him. So not great to lose him because he is one of our key midfielders, but at the same time, he didn't really fit the role. He was playing well, but he didn't really fit the role and the mould of the player I wanted in that position. So it gives me a bit of breathing space, bit of time to try and sort a replacement out. We'll go with that with the ins. I've got possibly one there, maybe a temporary one. We can maybe look to train. We've got, is it Kovalets, I think, or something like that in my squad already, a young good Ukrainian player. I'm moulding him into that position, so hopefully that will come good and we don't even have to spend too much to replace him. Maybe even do better than him. The second one there is Marlos. Now, 19.25 looks like a great deal. The problem with that is he's owned by a third party, so we only saw about 4.5 of that. So they took a big majority of that money. There was a few other things as well that went also. I think his old club got a share of it as well. But China came in for him. I think another big European team came in for him as well, but they weren't willing to go up for the money. I was trying to negotiate to about 25-30. No one was really having it. We managed to get it up to about 20. There's a few add-ons there as well, I think, included that aren't shown in brackets like the Stepanos deal, but there's a few extra bits there I think we can earn from. And, he's a wide player. We don't play with wide players. He isn't really good enough to play in the front three, I don't think. He's got a few goals here and there when he's stepped in, but he's not really good enough. So I thought, get him out, get a bit of money for him while I can. He's 29. He has to go. The next one there is Bernard. Again, same reasons as Marlos. Good wide player, fantastic player, probably the best player in the team, but not really fit into what we're trying to do, what we're doing. So, and I don't want to change my whole team for one player, no matter how good he is. I mean, he is good, but he's quite inconsistent. So we sold him to Guangzhou in China. Same deal. We got about 4 million for that after the third party ownership got involved. So didn't really get as much money from that as we'd like. What was that? 36 million roughly we could have got, and we ended up with about 8 of it. So not great. And I mentioned the revenue. I managed to do it after the Stepanenko deal. So again, we didn't get a full percentage of that. I think we got about 17 of that added. So not too bad. Dentinho is the next one to go. And he goes back to Brazil, back to Fluminense, £4 million. Similar situation. Wide player, doesn't play. He's played 2 games for me. That's for them. He's played a couple of sub appearances here and there, 3 games. He didn't do anything really. It's the right time for him to make a move back to Brazil. 4 million for him. He's 29, 30. Yeah, perfect time for him to make a move. He can play as striker, but not really that great. It's gone back to the other order, so we'll flip that back. And the last one really to go as a permanent move here is on Gender. Now we got him in on a free. I knew I could try and bring some better players in. He didn't really. He had a few injuries through the season. Not even season. It's 4 months roughly that we played the first bit. 5 months perhaps, and he was injured a lot of time. Wasn't the first choice of the first 3. Wasn't really going to develop into anything really as a first team player. So I thought we'll take the opportunity. We're going to bring some new blood in. He can go, and we got 800k for him, rising to 1 million. So not a bad deal for a free transfer. Good profit on him there. So there's a couple of loans that have gone out. Nothing too exciting, I don't think. No, a few loans, just a few players there that don't really fit what I'm trying to do. I tried to sell them. The only bids I got were loans. So yeah, we'll go for that. So now the ins. Obviously Romero's the start of the season. We've got Marlon Freitas. Now this guy is a temporary, if at least, option as a replacement for Stepanenko. 22 years old, Brazilian, of course. We're trying to bring the Brazilians in. He's a 2-star current ability, 3-star potential, but I think he can do a bit better than that. We signed him from Fluminense. He was doing all right, but I think he comes into a more successful team. I don't know how Fluminense are doing in Brazil. They are second, so he should have a better average rate than that. But he has got a bit of European experience. He's played in Slovakia. He's randomly played in the 2nd division in the USA at Fort Lauderdale as well. Is it the Strikers? I think they're called. Yeah, Strikers. I think they have Ronaldo. It's not showing it. I'm pretty sure they have the old Ronaldo, the R9 Ronaldo, as their director or something. So a bit of an interesting one there. So he comes in. Who followed him? Denilson will start the season. Agenda, obviously. These are all start the seasons. We did miss Baraki. He didn't do the right order. 25-year-old Ghanaian striker. He has played in England, I think. I recognise the name. Was it West Brom? Watford? Is it not him? It's not him. I recognise his name from somewhere, and I don't know where. But he comes in. He got 10 goals in 15 games in Serbia. Slight step up now, so we'll see how he does. But he's got he did quite well in both his seasons there. He's got goals in him. A bit before that, he was a bit of a journeyman. A lot of loans. Didn't really get many goals. But he's played for Juventus. He obviously had a bit of something about him. He can slot in that advanced forward role. And I think he'll be a good addition to the team. He's bounced up to 3 million already. There was someone else in for him. And we managed to beat them to him. So very happy with that deal. We got Gerard Gohu. He's an Ivorian striker, now worth 7 million, and he came in on a free. So he's very much a temporary solution, but his record again was, I think, he had a pretty good record. Yeah, he's hitting 20 goals for 2 seasons. Okay, it's only in Kazakhstan, but he's had goals in Turkey, not one of the big clubs. He's played in Russia for Krasnodar. He's been around a bit, but if we can make him settle here for a year or two, get some goals out of him, very much a backup sort of striker, maybe even a plan B. I just jumped out of him there. We'll have a quick look back in. I think he's quite tall, 6 foot tall. 17 finishing, 12 heading. Pace isn't too bad as well. The scout report was pretty much glowing. There's quite a few clubs in for him. Free transfer. He's now worth £7 million. And yeah. And I've just realised there was another out, but I don't think it's happened yet. No. They actually... I'll have a look at the future transfers. A couple of future transfers I think that happened at the end of the season. A couple we know about for the ins already, obviously, but there's a couple of outs as well. Then we had a couple of loans come in. So we've got a backup centre-back. He's primarily a ball-playing centre-back. which is what we do. Very young. If we can try and get him on a permanent deal, 4-star rising to 5-star potential. So if we can try and bring him in season, see how he does. He's played really well at in the UEFA competitions for the youth leagues. I think this is be a really good player here, and if we can snap him up at the end of the season, I'll be delighted. Depending if how he goes, of course. And then we did bring up another backup striker again, sort of 3.5 potential rising to 4.5. And these players from Sporting Lisbon, these young Portuguese players are fantastic. Again, quite a good record in UEFA youth competitions. He can play the advanced forward role. He's got a bit to learn, but he's only 19. He can do that. I don't know how he's done. He's done, well, that's the B team. He's got 1 in 2 basically average there. A little bit less there. So he's okay. I think we can work with him a little bit. And he gives us a little bit of an option. And we've now got a few more strikers that we can rotate a little bit in the league. So that is a very important thing. So we were relying on, in the league, and we were playing the backup team, we were relying on 2 wingers and a not very good Ukrainian striker. We've still got him, and he is still improving. So he was subject to a bid for a loan, I think. Decided to not let that happen. So we'll go to future deals, which is here. So coming in, we've obviously, I think that was the start of the season. Looking at him now, he's not really the sort of player we want, is he? But you know, we can maybe work with him and turn him into something. We've got another young Brazilian striker. Again, that was the start of the season, but he comes in July. He'll have a bit of work to do, but he looks like a real prospect there, Paulinho. And Sego even. Now, I think he's another one that I had done at the start of the season, so we've probably gone over him a little bit, but I've got him in my Arsenal save, and at the age of, what is it, the second season, I think, so at the age of like 17, 18, on the edge, he's banging in goals. Like whenever he comes in for the cup games or rest games, he's banging goals in, so very delighted with that. This was kind of a daylight robbery for the out. Leschuk, he's that Argentinian striker, target man, never been registered, didn't play. He was worth about 4.5 million, 4.6. No one was willing to pay anywhere near that. Couldn't get $1 million for him. I had a couple of chance bids from Argentina for like a couple of 100 and a bit K, and I decided to, you know, he's on 8.5, let him go. I think I'm still paying about 2 for the remainder of his contract or whatever it is, but just get him out of there, get him primarily off the wage bill, and just get him out. So that will happen at the end of the season. He's now, he's not resting in the reserves, but he's going to be. But hopefully it doesn't take game time away from some of the good ones. So, now, that leads us on to the Paris St Germain game. So this obviously is going to be quite a long episode. A lot of transfer stuff to get through, a bit of pre-season stuff to get through. Probably taking a bit longer than I would have liked with explaining some of that, but yeah, there was a lot of stuff happening with the transfers, so it was very much needed. But I'm just looking at their team news now, and they've got a couple of players eligible. I don't think they're anyone. Oh, a couple of good players there. Danilo, Pereira, a couple of Pereiras. Are they related? Maybe brothers. And Alex Vidal from Barcelona. He's eligible. Pastore's missing. I don't know if this guy's a regular starter. A couple of games. Looks very good, but I don't think he's particularly a starter. But Cavani, that is a massive one. But let's not get too upset by this. They've got Thiago Silva still. They've got Daniel Alves still, and they've got Neymar still. How is Neymar doing? He's doing pretty well. He hasn't got a goal in Europe though, surprisingly. Maybe he's a bench. You know, he comes off the bench maybe in those games, but they've still got a very good team there, and we'll do very Di Maria, Mora. You know, some of those Draxler's still there. Ben Arthur's listed. Mbappe's there. He's doing all right, isn't he? They've still got some players there, so we're gonna have to keep our wits about us. The home leg gives us a chance to have a good start, but we need to keep those away goals, you know, to a minimum. Obviously, if we can try and grab the ideal situation here, I think would be a nice 2-0 win. Go into the second leg, just try and shut them out and try and play some long ball. So maybe give a good go to that Shakhtar pump formation and just pump it in the box and just see what we can do. Put one of our taller strikers in. We have registered a few of our transfers, so the bulk of those are in the squad. I think the one who missed out was Boakier, and I think one of the centre backs missed out as well. So let's jump into the game. So this is the lineup we go with. A little bit off the usual, but the bulk of it is still the same. So the back four still the same back three and the goalkeeper. The wing backs remain the same. We've also got Fred still playing there. Kovalenko is the young Ukrainian player I was referring to, who we're trying to mould into this centre midfielder, box-to-box player. He's got some of the attributes there needed, and hoping he can sort of step in. We have got Freitas on the bench if we want to bring him on. He's probably more natural there, but he hasn't been training with the team long, so we'll want to try and give them a bit of grounding, especially in that midfield heavy workload role. He needs to be brought into the team a little bit more, and this is obviously the first game after the break. Up front, pretty much the same. Obviously Tyson is still injured though. He returns to full training tomorrow. Fantastic. So he should make the second leg. Does it follow this game? No, the fixtures have rearranged a little bit. We've got 3 league games in between, so good time there for him to recover. So Gohu comes in his place. I'm sure he can do a job there. We've got some good players on the bench. I need to just check we have got a striker on the bench. I don't think... Yes, we have got Pedro Marquez, the young Portuguese player. He skips out... What's his name? I can't even remember his name. Lukanov or something like that. Lukanov. He's actually unregistered now, so... And Biakke obviously is unregistered. We've got Tyson there, injured. Paz, the new centre-back, is unregistered, and a few others there as well. So, without further ado, we'll jump into this game. And so we've got to give some squad numbers. We haven't even done that yet. Well, I don't think he should be getting number 9. I'd like to give him a lower number if possible. Yeah, we'll give him number 6. No, we'll give him number 4, Vieira number. Gohu, give him number 10. And Pedro Marquez can have his number 9 that he wanted, actually, after all. Got a lot of low numbers available now, because obviously we've sold a few what would probably normally be first-team players. You know, Marlos, Bernard. Leszczyk was 99, but he's still in the squad anyway. Computer seems to be running a little bit slow this morning. They go with 4-3-3. Cavani is playing. So now, I was under the impression he wouldn't be playing. Di Maria in the centre. So that's perhaps that Celso, whatever his name is, being injured. Don't know much about Kimpembe. Areola in goal. Not sure why Trapp isn't in goal. Perhaps he's not available. We're not gonna leave this to the assistant today. And we talk to the players. Go a bit assertive. They seem to be responding quite well to that. We'll send the assistant in and we kick off. So, we're shooting right to left, and that's the end of that highlight. So, Cavani is struggling out there, so we'll wait for the first highlight. Quite a slow-paced game, which does suit me. It's 15 minutes before we see the first highlight, and it is ours. We've won the ball back, and Gohu through to Romero, and Romero, he gives us the lead. Wow. And that is a great break, and that is what Romero is all about. We win the ball with Neymar. Fred gets in on his fellow countryman. He plays it across to Gohu. That's a great... Is it a first-time ball? It is. Oh, what a run that is from Romero, and he just buries that. He's not missing those. I say that... Last time I said that, he did miss a sitter. So if we can just build on that and just not let them straight back in, which I thought was going to be a kick-off goal there. Cavani, perhaps a fully firing fit Cavani would have done something there. Romero wins the ball back off their corner. Audet's a great ball. If we could have played it left, he was offside anyway. So we went for 15 minutes with no highlights, and they're now just back-to-back, thick and fast. And it's Kovalenko to Romero. It's 2-0. Wow. Wow. This is where I said I'd stick 2-0, start the game. Before the game started, 2-0. But we've perhaps 18 minutes. Have we peaked too soon? And hopefully not. Hopefully we can just keep building on this and, you know, really give ourselves a firm footing in that second leg and maybe put ourselves... I mean, I don't want to get too overconfident, out of position, out of sight. And we seem to be clearing up everything at the back really nicely. Neymar thought he was getting it through then. Verratti, don't let him pop. And we win the ball back. And can we break again? Ferreira, over to Gohu. Can he score his debut? Oh, he drags it wide. That was a great chance to go 3-0 up there. But it is 2-0 still as we approach 25 minutes. We get a throw in. Hopefully this isn't a sign because it's all been breaks in this game so far. We don't want to lose the ball and get broken on the counter-attack. But we win the ball back. And it's through to Gohu. These front three are causing all sorts of problems. Ferreira should score. So we've got another highlight. About 5 minutes ago, our left wing back, Azevedo, there, as you can see, he's picked up a knock. It's a bruised thigh, I think, so we might have to look at getting him off. But he's already down to less fitness. Oh, I thought they were going to score then. Less fitness, or around the same sort of fitness as Cavani, who's been playing all game, which is ridiculous. What is his injury? just says injured. Fantastic. Right, so we go into half time. Yeah, we've struggled with possession, but we're winning 2-0. Reduced them to 1 shot on target out of 8, and we've got 4 out of 8. And we're losing the foul battle as well. They fouled us more. A lot of dangerous attacks involve Neymar. They probably have, but they also haven't resulted in anything. And interestingly, Spartak at half time are holding Atletico Madrid 0-0 at half time. So we'll get in. He seems to do the half time ones okay, but we'll take over the second bit. Passionate, assertive maybe actually. We weren't that bad, but you can still improve. Not really true, is it? I mean, 2-0 up against Paris St Germain is a fantastic result and a fantastic performance, and everyone's playing really well, it looks like. So we're going to have to get Ismaili on here. I think he was subject. No, Azevedo actually was subject to a bid from a team in Brazil, but we relented on that. We didn't really have an immediate replacement. I do have one next season. I think we got a young player in our reserve team, but he's out on loan, and I couldn't recall him. All our loan players, some of the youth team players, look really good, but they're not available to be recalled. So it's a bit disappointing. So we'll have to wait till next season for a bit of a revamp. So it's been a bit of a break. There's not really much happened in the second half, which I'm fine with. If it just rolls on till 90 minutes, I'll be happy. But it looks like PSG are going to go on a little bit of a counter-attack here. They've got Mora on. It looks like they've maybe changed shape a little bit. So we might have to take a look at that shortly. We've got to make some subs anyway. If we can just hold on. We don't hold on. Neymar finds the ball. It's pretty much their first highlight that's resulted in a shot on an attack. So it's a bit disappointing, but it was coming. You look at the shots now. They've brought that back. We're now not firing quite so many shots on target. We're not seeing our strikers get the ball quite so much. And we are going to make those subs. Cerner's looking a little bit jaded. Ideally, I wouldn't take him off because I think he's playing quite well. No, he's not playing. He's not in a great game, actually. But we've got players on yellow cards. Ismaili's come on and is already booked, of course. We have got Butko back. He was the player that was out for about 4 months. He's come back over the break. All the strikers are playing quite well. Fred is struggling, but he's playing well, and Kovalenko is on a booking and struggling a little bit, but he's not far behind, is he? Can we maybe put Kovalenko in the deep line playmaker role? We'll take Fred off, and we'll bring on Freitas for his first game, and he sits in that role perfectly. So we'll stick with that, and they've got a free kick. Please don't, and they've in 2 minutes pretty much they have brought a 2-0 to a 2-2. And that is disappointing with the 3 big men we've got at the back, and it's Kazawa who wins the header. That is disappointing, and the changes hadn't taken effect, so we changed them now, and it's them again. This is where they're going to come alive, isn't it? And they have 3-2 in about 3 minutes. I have been well and truly FM'd here. Not in terms of stats, obviously they're piling on the stats now a little bit, but we had a few chances to score, but it's the timings. It's the timings of the goals. 3 away goals. I mean, balls in their court. All their players are struggling, but we're the ones that are given the run around. It's disappointing. And we go into the last few minutes, and Ismaili is now. That's both our left backs injured. And that's the end of the game. 74, 77, and 78. Okay, ours were 3 minutes apart, so we can't argue too much. But that is just ridiculous. I mean, perhaps should I shut up shop a little bit more? Maybe, but I didn't want to bring the pressure on and invite it. I wanted to just keep on the front foot, and maybe I should have done. It's something to learn from. It's something it happens quite a lot in this game. We get a good lead, especially against the bigger teams. We get the lead, but we just aren't able to hold it, and we let the assistant take that one because he's actually saying something other than nothing needs to be addressed right now. So Spartak Moscow ends 1-1. So again, Atletico Madrid have got the ball in their court. Paris, both away teams got the ball in their court really from these first legs, safe to say. So anything news? He's out for 5 to 8 days. Fantastic. We've got 1 to 3 days. They'll both be back for the second leg. We'll send the assistant. In fact, there's nothing there worth looking at, is there? Is that a player? A little bit of an insight. There is another player possibly on the way. Is the window still open then, perhaps, or is this for next season? There might be one for next season I'm looking at. But we'll have a quick show of him. He may not. It may not transpire. Another young striker. He can be adapted. 6'1". He's not doing too badly. He could be a good. I've done basically, while I was waiting to play this game, I did a lot of scouting in Argentina, Brazil, most of South America really. I had a good scour through Ukraine to try and balance that a little bit as well. So he's a potential. We'll come back. I'll look at that offline. We'll come back, and it's the second leg, which is in. When is the second leg? 13th of March. So it's about 3 weeks away. So we'll play these games offline. Looks like we've got a bit of a break between. Apart from this first one, where we've got to play in 3 days, it's a week. Yeah, week in between. So that's not too bad. Then of course we get about 4 days. So we've got to play Kiev, which is actually the last game of the season. So our season actually finishes at that point, apart from the cup. So our season could be over 13th of March if I don't turn this PSG game around. So 13th of March, we'll be back then for the Paris St Germain second leg. I'll see you then.